Hey guys, if you want to start a podcast, you've had the idea rolling around in the back of your head, but you're not quite sure where to go, head on over to buzzsprout.com. There's going to be a link in the show notes of this episode. Go down there, click on that link, get over to their website, check it out. They make everything so quick and easy to start a podcast. They get you on all the major podcasting networks, Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it, they'll get you on there. They have quick, easy setup for monetization. I started making money after my second episode, I think it was. So, go check them out, create an account, follow the link in the show notes to get you there. They will help you in any way they can to get you up and running. They have great blog posts, YouTube videos, everything to get you going. So check them out, follow that link in the show notes, and get your show on the air. Hey guys, welcome back to Behind the Arrow. I am your host, Paul Clinton. This is episode number 13, I believe, today. On today's episode, I had a great talk with Ryan from Double Down Outdoors. Make sure you go over and check them out on Instagram and on YouTube at Double Down Outdoors. Great group of guys. Ryan was very insightful, had some really cool stories to share in our conversation today, so make sure you check them out after you listen to this episode. Make sure you head on over and follow us on Instagram, Foresight_outdoors. Like this show. Subscribe to the podcast so you get all the new episodes. I'm trying to get better at getting one out every week. That is my goal. And hopefully we can get that done. And make sure you go on over and check out GotEmHunting.com. You can find them on Instagram and on Facebook. If you're in the market for broadheads, they have very top quality broadheads, either fixed blades or mechanicals. So make sure you head on over to GotEmHunting.com. I had a post on my Instagram with a discount code to get 10% off, I believe, on your first purchase to try out their broadheads. Great product, great group of guys there as well running that place. So head on over, check them out, and then sit back and enjoy the episode. Hey guys, welcome back to Behind the Arrow. Sitting here today with Ryan from Double Down Outdoors. We've been trying to get this show going for, I don't know, it's got to be 2-3 weeks now, just with schedules not lining up and whatnot. So I'm finally here with them. So welcome and thank you for coming, Ryan.
Yeah, not a problem. It's like you say, been a while in the making here. It's good to finally chat with you, and hopefully you can keep everyone entertained with some good hunting stories.
Yeah, for sure. So we were chatting on Instagram there, and you were saying you got some pretty wild stories, and I was actually just following along your Instagram story here with the last few days anyhow, and it seems like you were out on a pretty interesting moose hunt.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. It was 3 hours of walking for 5 minutes of sheer joy, and it was something that we had a lot of fun recording. We had a lot of fun getting out there, getting back into the bush and doing, and it's just like anything, right back to the elk hunt. It's just one of those things that it took months to do, and we waited a long time to get that drawn. It finally all came together this Thanksgiving weekend. So I guess that's one thing I'm thankful for.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've never been out moose hunting yet. It's something I'm trying to look into, but here in Ontario, it's awfully hard to get tags, and I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball trying to get my name in to even get into the draw. So we'll see what happens there. But so what else do you guys hunt for up there? You're in Alberta, aren't you?
Yeah, we're in north central Alberta. I myself have my little farm here. We got about 1,100 acres of grain that we farm, 15 minutes southeast of Colinton, something like that. And so up here we get a lot of elk. Up the Athabasca River, I hunt a lot of moose, a lot of whitetail is pretty much my go-to every year because it's general around here, like it is in most areas. We hunt bears because we got enough of them. So pretty much your standard little bit of every North American species that pretty typical around here for us. So
Right on. Yeah, we got right now for this year. I'm after whitetails and some black bears, but We don't have any elk anywhere near here, and like I said, the moose are awfully hard to try and get drawn into. So, what's your favorite to try and go after? Would you say?
You know what? Honestly, there's nothing better than a good whitetail hunt, and I love whitetail hunting. That was the first animal I ever harvested was a whitetail. Been doing it my whole life. But this year, when I really started getting into elk hunting, I think I found a new passion, and I think that I had the most fun on my elk trip this year. So I'm kind of thinking that's going to be a regular thing. I'd say that if everything pans out, elk hunting is going to be the new favorite here. So
Yeah, man, elk are such a crazy animal. There's something they're almost like a bucket list animal for me, just not having them around here. And I'm just amazed at some of the things that, like, especially their bugle for an animal that size and that mean looking, they get a noise like that coming out of them. It's just jaw dropping to me.
oh yeah, and once you hear it in person, once you hear it a couple miles away over a valley, I'll tell you right now, buddy, there's no better sound in the world than when you got a bull bugling in and coming in on you. It's just surreal.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely excited for that. Hopefully within the next couple of years, I can get somewhere and try and get out to hunt one of those. And I think it'd be spectacular. It's something I'd never forget for sure.
Yeah, no, it's I definitely recommend it for anyone that wants to get into it. If you have an opportunity, take it. It's one of those hunts that it stays with you forever. So yeah.
Awesome. So speaking of that, you kind of hinted at that you had an elk hunt already this year. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so that elk hunt was about 4 months in the making. We started right around June is when we really started. Me and Mark came to the conclusion that, hey, we want to do something good for the page here. We want to get out and hunt some elk. So we started scouting land, calling farmers, calling landowners, whatever it was. And it's funny, we actually started out setting up our trail cameras we were in the right WMU, the right area. We just were on the complete wrong side of it, and that field actually ended up to be one of our highest producing whitetail plots, or highest producing whitetail spots, however. And so moving forward, we kind of talked, and that's what the big thing. It's okay to ask for help, right? So we ended up getting some advice from some guys who have a little more experience with the elk hunting. And that's where we got some really good leads as to where to go and where to find them. And they didn't give us a drop a pin location where they're going to be, but no, we got out there, we set up some cameras, we started seeing elk, we stuck on them, waited for 3 months of watching these things. And then finally, at the end of the day, we didn't even end up hunting that spot, and we got a friendly tip from a family friend, and we went out there, spent about 2 weeks in that area, and yeah, we had a really really good opportunity on a very nice bull. Right around September 6th, September 7th, something like that. It just didn't work out. So finally, it was a long day after work, and me and Mark were both pretty beat from being in the shop all day. So head out, and I clearly remember telling Mark on the way in, because it's about a kilometer walk into where we set up. And I clearly remember telling Mark, I said, man, I'm willing to pay someone $1,000 tonight to haul this thing out of here for us if we get something. And, little did I know that it would actually come together. And when it did, you just felt like the king of the world, and you had super strength. That adrenaline was just pumping. And
Oh yeah, all your worries and tiredness just fade away at that point.
oh yeah, like there was nothing else that mattered in the world but me and that elk, and it was honestly not looking like a good night. It was looking like more of a whitetail hunt than anything. We had Mark's buck that I was trying to guide him on for come out about 96 yards away, 96, 97, just way too far of a shot, and we had a little spiker whitetail come out. And then I just kept throwing the bugles, and sure as heck, right before dusk, there we Mark stood up to do a last glass at the little bowl area that we were hunting, and he stands up and he turns back to me, and his eyes are just blown up, and his jaw just dropped, and he says, Ryan, there's a bull coming in right to our left. And I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, you bet, bud, I bet there's a bull coming in. And he's like, man, I'm not even kidding, get ready. And so sure as heck, I see his headgear bouncing over the slough grass to our left, and he starts coming in. And the first time we ranged him, it was about 110 yards away. And so Mark was like, man, he's going to run if you don't get him to turn. And I said, okay. So I threw one more bugle at him while I have my bow in my hand and I'm just shaking like a feather in the wind here. And yeah, he comes in and he starts getting broadside to us. The last time I ranged him, he was at 86 yards. And about 5 seconds later, I let an arrow fly and he didn't run 40 yards. And we watched him the whole time, dropped right on the edge of the field. And that was honestly probably one of the best moments of my life, having that feeling of knowing that we just accomplished something that, maybe 10% of bow hunters hunting elk do every year. And that was just, can't even describe it.
Yeah, man, that sounds pretty amazing. And that's one hell of an archery shot too.
Yeah. And that was one of those shots that I don't think I'm ever going to get again. Yeah. So thankful for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable slinging an arrow that far myself, to tell you the truth, but hell, good on you, man.
Yeah, thanks.
That's a sweet story, man. Like I said, that's definitely a bucket list animal for me. And just hearing that story, I got some goosebumps sitting here. So
yeah, it's definitely something that I know a lot of people want to do, but I'll just tell anyone right now that is looking to get into any kind of elk hunting or looking to make something regular out of it. It's not as easy as setting up a stand and getting out. It takes, it's a lot of work. It's even after the kill, after everything's said and done, then you got to worry about loading this 1,500-pound animal, getting it in. And, that's a lot of meat to take care of too. But if you're looking to get into elk hunting, I envy you and I wish you the best of luck. And it's a lot of work. So,
yeah, for sure. Anything's all the good stuff's a lot of work nowadays. So,
oh, absolutely.
So, are you guys do you do any spot and stock hunting out there? Or are you a lot of stand hunting?
Actually, so normally we are a lot of stand hunting, but this year has been more spot and stock than we've ever done before. Um, to be completely honest, I haven't sat in a stand once this year up until I think it was 2 days ago. I sat in a stand for the first time this year. Everything else has been on the ground and just tracking and calling and all that fun stuff, right? So, yeah, typically it is stand hunting, but this year it was a totally different ball game.
Right on. Yeah. I'm all stand hunting here. I got a 130-acre parcel that I hunt on this year, and just got a few stands set up on it. It's very thick cover, not really much chance to try and spot anything and try and sneak up on it, really. So that moose hunt you were just on, that ended well for you. So how would you tell us a little bit about that one as well?
Yeah, that moose hunt was quite interesting. It was another one of those hunts where you don't expect. We didn't really expect much to happen that night. We were walking for about 3 hours through some of the most dense bush I've ever tracked through, and it was starting to get pretty frustrating. Excuse me. And we ended up getting to this little opening, and we got to their wallow, and I posted a couple pictures up on my Instagram of it actually, but if you look at the pictures, you can see that there was a much larger bull in the area. He'd actually gone through, made his wallows, made his scrapes, and he absolutely did a number on a nice willow that probably was about 2 inches around. Like it was 2-3 inches. It was pretty large. And, that's what really got us excited. We're like, okay, we know where they're sleeping. We know where they're moving. We're on them now. Like we're in their home. And so we ended up walking about 100 yards farther north, and it actually brought us to the edge of a little slough. And I was actually hunting with my uncle Dennis. He's got a lot of moose under his belt, and that's one of those situations where asking for help really paid off. So he's very good at calling, and we sat down. And that night he ended up wearing what he calls his lucky coat, of course, and so he's wearing his lucky coat, and he hands me an O. Henry. He says, "Here, this is good luck. It's going to give us energy for after you kill something." And I said, "Okay, whatever." And I ate the O. Henry, and by the time I had finished my O. Henry, he started calling, and that was probably about 5 minutes. And not even 5 minutes later, we had a bull coming out about 200-300 yards away across this slough, and he was coming in, throwing grunts at us, and we kept throwing the grunts back at him, and it was really cool, especially that we got everything on video. You can see him in the video coming right across the slough, walked through it like a beast, didn't even phase him. And he got in, and I like to shoot a little farther than most. And I ranged him at 65 yards, and I said to my uncle Dennis, I said, 65 yards, that's a kill shot. And he slapped me and he said, what are you talking about? No, let him come in. And I'm sure glad he did, because he ended up coming into about 20 yards and sent one into him just a little too far forward. It definitely hit a lung. It was a clean lung shot, but I think I got a little bit of shoulder in there too. And the thing about it was is that he was so far into rut, like it didn't even phase him that he had an arrow sticking out of him. And that's what just blew us away, because he's sitting there with an arrow sticking out of him and he's still grunting at us.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Ready to go.
Oh, like he was ready to go. Like, sure, he flinched a little bit when it hit him, but it after he flinched and ran 2 yards, it didn't phase him, because we had our cow scent going, whatever, just to keep his nose in the air, and we were grunting at him, and that's all he wanted, was to either wanted to hump us or kill us. It was one of the two. So he was he was pretty ready to go. So I sent another one into him. It was a clean lung shot, double lunged him, and he ran for about 60 yards, piled up in the water, and that was probably the worst place he could have gone, because we ended up having to trudge through 3.5, 4 feet of water to tie a rope onto him and get the winch to suck him out of there. So it was quite an ordeal.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a very fun ending, but the hunt sounds pretty fucking sweet. So.
Oh man, she was just so damn unreal. It was such, it was a lot of hard work at the end of it, and we were up till 5 a.m. dealing with it. But at the end of the day, I have a whole video of this hunt. It's one of those hunts that's another one that's going to stick with me forever. And situation like that, that's where I learned a lesson that it's absolutely okay to ask for help. If you're starting to get a little bit of worried about filling a tag, and someone with a little bit more experience than you, it's just one of those things where it's okay to ask for help, and sure as heck, look what happens. It pays off in the end.
Oh yeah, the hunting community I found is pretty amazing with that. They're always willing to help out and lend a helping hand. They're not going to give you their exact locations or whatnot, but they're going to lead you in the right direction for sure.
Yep, and that's the good thing about a lot of these hunters nowadays, is that everyone's pretty respectful of each other for the most part. But no, it's pretty good to have such a tightly knit community, especially in Alberta. I don't know what it's like in Ontario, but I know around here it's a pretty tightly knit community. Everyone kind of knows who everyone is, and no, everyone's always willing to lend a helping hand. So
yeah, for sure. I did notice in your Instagram story at one point you had a few things up about pushing on through. It was sounding like you were going through a little rough patch. Was that with this moose hunt there?
Yeah, that was definitely with this moose hunt here. That was it was really starting to get to me. Because I got way too lucky off the start. Like, it wasn't even halfway through September and I had already filled my elk and my whitetail tag. And so I thought, like, I had that mindset that it was just going to be an easy season. And yeah, like, it wasn't. It got to the point where, sure, we went out twice and we saw like a 55 to 60 inch bull, the biggest bull I've ever seen. And we full drew and he turned and burned us. And that was pretty consistent for about 3 days. And then after that, it was just nothing. And we had, like, it was just going out and seeing nothing and nothing and nothing. And, we'd see the occasional cow, and then we'd trudge through all this hard land. Like, we were walking lake beds and we were getting up to our knees in muskeg and just having a miserable time. And, that's pretty much what that was about. And I was starting to get a little bit worried and a little bit down, but I learned a lot of good lessons from a lot of good hunters. And they all tell me, like, it's not always going to work out, but at the end of the day, if you power through, you keep pushing, that's what's going to get you the kill, and that's what's going to get you your trophy on the ground. So that's just
what I remember seeing that post, and it kind of hit home because I had a really terrible spring turkey season. And there was at one point I was like, why the hell am I even doing this anymore? I didn't fill my turkey tag this year at all, but there was one day where I was just sitting in the woods, calling, and I had like a bird on one side, I had a chipmunk running around the other side, and it just kind of hit me that even though I'm not having any success, that just being out there and enjoying the rest of wildlife, it's one of those things that I'll never pass up the opportunity to do, even if I'm not having the luck that I want to have or whatever it is. I'll never pass up a time to go sit in the woods. So
No, absolutely. And that's awesome that you think that. Like that's the old saying goes, a bad day of hunting's better than a good day at work. And that's, you can never complain about getting out into the woods and putting in the time. And, there's just nothing better. And I think it's something that everyone needs a little bit more of.
yeah, for sure. So now with you filling a moose tag, an elk tag, and a whitetail tag this year so far, what are your plans for the rest of the year? Do you got any?
Well, it's hard to say. I don't have any tags left, but I did. So I got my spring bear there in the spring, of course. So around here we can pull a spring bear and a fall bear. Um, it's looking like that might be my go-to unless I do actually end up going down south on some muleys here. But that's looking like it's in the works right now. We're just trying to figure some stuff out with the guide and see if the whole team's on board or whatnot. And yeah, I guess it's just going to be take it one day at a time here and figure out what to do. But as far as I know right now, I'm just going to be trying to help the rest of the boys fill their tags and help a couple buddies and do as much as I can to get everyone what they want this year.
Nice. And you said you had these hunts filmed. You gonna have them up on YouTube this year?
The only film that we have on YouTube right now is our bear hunt. Everything else is still being edited. I do all the editing myself, so it takes me a little bit of time to get everything done. And we're planning on having everything released sometime before Christmas. I think right at the end of the season, of the rifle season, which ends in November. So I think right around that time is when we're going to release all the footage that we have. We didn't actually, and this is probably the most unfortunate part of all, is that we actually didn't get the shot of the elk on cam. That it was just such a spur of the moment. The adrenaline was too high, and we just couldn't get our shit in a pile to get everything set up to go.
Or that the rest of the hunt will probably still be pretty awesome to watch. I'm definitely looking forward to that this year. So
Yeah.
what so let's go with, what do you think would be your craziest moment out in the woods so far in your hunting career?
Yeah, well, there's a couple, but I think the one that takes the cake for sure is when I stabbed myself in the leg with my own knife. So I guess me and my buddy were out whitetail hunting, and I was on my property, of course, and when I got up into my stand, it was probably about 5:30, 5:45, and he's about a kilometer away in one of my other stands, and he's set up on a little island piece up on a hill. And so I can see him, he can see me, whatever. We got the communication down pat. We had service to text, whatever. But I know that field has been famous for bears, and I've got a lot of bears on camera in there. And if you know me, you know I don't like to tango with bears with only my bow because that's all I ever carry with me. And so yeah, I'm already on edge about that because when we got out there and I got up, I was in there for about 50 minutes when I heard there was a boar in front of me and a sow and her cubs behind me in the bush behind me. And I don't know if you've ever heard bears communicate before, but it is the most ugly, disgusting, and horrific sound that I've ever heard in my life. Like it is, it sounds like someone dying and just screaming, man. Like it's terrible and it scares you. But they're just screaming back and forth at each other, and I didn't know what was going on at first. I was like, "Well, is someone in there? Is someone hurt?" Like that's what it sounded like. And then when the cubs start screaming, that's even worse because it sounds like a kid screaming, and I don't know what to think of it. So I'm sitting up here listening to these bears just bellowing at each other, and so I'm freaked out. But I powered through, stuck it out, and I sat there for the night. I didn't think I was going to see a whitetail because of these things just screaming at each other, but ended up sitting there till right before dark. And at that time, uh, this was a couple years ago. I'm just saying I've learned a lot since then. But at that time, I would get out of my stand and I'd always have my knife in my hand ready to go in case, because it's pretty close counters to walk out, right?
Yeah.
And so the truck was probably about 500-600 yards away from the stand. So yeah, it's pretty tight quarters. So walking out, I'd always have my knife in my hand. And sure as heck, the boar that was in front of me decided to come out and tango because he must have caught my scent or heard me getting out. And it's really, really weird for a black bear to just come out and, stalk a person like that. It was actually it was by far the scariest thing I've ever had to encounter.
All our bears up here, they're pretty skittish and they seem to take off as soon as they catch you. They catch wind of you or anything like that. So.
Well, geez, I sure wish that's what happened that night. Yeah. Yeah, especially in the fall, that's what you got to look out for, right? Because they're looking to eat, they're looking to get fat and get ready for hibernation, right?
Yeah.
And so he comes out of the tree line, he's looking to tangle, and he throws a little wheeze at me then he does his little stutter step. And I'm like, holy crap. So me being an idiot, instead of standing my ground, because I'm just a young little idiot at this time. And I just, I started running. And what happens when you run? Arm goes down, leg comes up. And I had the knife pointed down. And kids, don't run with knives pointed down. I don't know if your mom's ever told you that, but this is where that really kicks in. So I was running, and my first step, leg went up, arm came down, and this fillet knife was about 2 inches from my femoral artery, and it went about 3-4 inches into my leg, and I just dropped to the ground, and I started screaming because that one hurt like hell, and he didn't like that screaming, so he buggered off, and my buddy is still in the stand, and at this time he's full drawn on a doe. And so I'm just howling, I'm yelling, Brayden, holy crap, I stabbed myself in the leg, get back to the truck, we gotta go. And he's not a too tall of a guy, and there was still crop on the field. So here I see just my buddy's head, kind of just his upper body just bouncing through this crop, running up, and he's like, holy crap, what'd you do? I said, I stabbed myself in the leg, man, we gotta go. And I'm just crawling back to my truck. He helps me up, throws me in there, we peel out of there. He calls an ambulance because he thought it was so bad, and we ended up getting there. I got a couple stitches and called it a night. Yeah, went home, had some whiskey. Oh man, it was just such a.
We were setting up trail cams one year, and we didn't really take anything out with us. It was just a few out quick in the back 40 of behind my buddy's house, and we put a cam up, and then there ended up being a sapling right in front of where he wanted it pointing. So we tried to cut the sapling down just with a little pocket knife. And he ended up slipping through the sapling and stabbed himself in the ankle and ended up cutting his Achilles tendon.
Oh, man.
Yeah, just from something so stupid and so silly, just trying to cut a sapling down with a straight blade knife. And yeah, it went right through his Achilles tendon. He was out for about 6 months.
Jesus. Wow, I can't imagine that felt too great.
Oh yeah, he was definitely in some pain, but I think I just got the name for this episode of the podcast. It's gonna be "Don't Run with Knives."
Yeah, life lessons, right?
All right, Ryan. Well, I think we're gonna end this one here. That was a pretty great story, I think, to end on. Definitely gonna have to get back together with you and get some more of these stories that you have. Your hunts sound amazing, and I think you might have some more stories along the lines of stabbing yourself in the leg. So
yeah, I got lots more. Can't wait to chat with you again, buddy.
Awesome. All right, Ryan. Thanks for coming on, bud.
Yeah, not a problem. Take her easy and happy hunting, everyone.
All right, bye. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Ryan, great guy to talk to. They're a great group of guys. I enjoy all their content on Instagram and YouTube. And once again, make sure to head on over to gothamhunting.com and get yourself fixed up with some top quality broadheads to help you harvest whatever animals you were chasing this year. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you come back next week. I'm not 100% sure who my guest is going to be yet, but we'll get that figured out. We'll get a new episode up next Sunday as well. Thanks.